kahinda kau ka miaka 10 ngoria tiriri gatiba ya Kenya ungiruthumanira watho witagwo Public Finance Management Act yugaga ugikomba mbeca cia bururi no ukombire mbeca cia uthii wa na mbere tiria ciitagwo recurrent agikorwo niwe turarumirira watho wa gukomba bagirairwo ni gukorwo tukiona maendeleo ma president Mwai wa Kibaki ma miaka 10 twagirirwo ni gukorwo tukimwona o mwaka tondu ngombo icio iria kaundu ga keri darora he tabarira yukaga bunge ego kabere ka budget yukite na ndageria guthurima maundu macio maria maraikarirwo ni cabinet muthenya wa ira garora ngona uhoro wa ugitiri ni uhetwo mbeca nyingi muno thĩinĩ wa the next financial year ni kwa mawoni makwa ndenyihitie muno ngauga atiriri priority ya bururi mahinda-inĩ maya ti ugitiri priority ya bururi mahinda-inĩ maya ona ugitiri uri iguru kuri na maundu ta ma githomo maria maragia andu muno makiria ikienda mbeca cia budget iria tugukorwo tukihitukia mweri wa gatandatu mbeca nyingi ciuke githomo-ini na capitation iria ikoretwo igitumwo mathukuru ni itige gucererwo igatumagwo riria already mahinda mathiete muno na capitation especially ya secondary schools thĩinĩ wa mabuku ma thirikari yagĩrĩirwo gukorwo ngiri 22 harĩ o mũrutwo 22,000 no arutani aya nene no mamwire mbeca iria imakinyagira mwaka ukihituka ni ciringi ngiri 15 guthie ciringi ngiri 17 reke tuga prioritize maundu maya ma githomo na tikuga ndirauga ugitiri nduri na ugitiri wina muthingi munene muno bururi-ini no ndarora budget iyo ya ugitiri ngona maundu matirathie hari ugitiri ukoragwo wi muno ni indo urona haria ciekirwo ni hari hatoragio ciuria muno tondu thini wa budget hari maundu maria matoragio ciuria muno ugakora hau niho mbeca ciathie muno makiria mbeca iria ciguthie gitiri ni Ndindi Nyoro ingĩũria atiriri budget iria kurehwo bunge umuthi niguo ithũrimwo ni bunge ikahĩtũkio mweri wa gatandatu mbeca iria ciguthie gitiri-ini undu wa mbere tũngĩenda ciĩke tũtiĩrĩga gwĩka recruitment njega ya borithi no twende yĩkwo the next financial year wa keri no twende mbeca icio handu haingi maundu macio matakuoneka muno athuri a matura thĩinĩ wa bũrũri wa Kenya village elders ni athuri othe matarĩtwo nĩ kĩndũ ngiri 45 mbeca icio ingĩũria department ya ũgitĩri mathiĩ maciriarĩti rĩngĩ nĩguo mwaka wa gĩthirikari ũrĩa tũranjĩrĩria Julai no nginya village elders thĩinĩ wa bũrũri wa Kenya mambie kũheagwo kamũcara tondũ wĩra ũrĩa marutaga nĩ wa ũgitĩri na no ona matikĩheo ngiri 2 o kiumia rĩ cio ithe ti ngiri 8 ngiri 8 kũheo mũthuri wa itũra rĩ itanakiũra tondu ũhoro wa ũgitĩri wambagia matũra-inĩ na bũrũri wa Kenya ũkoragwo ũmbĩtwo na njĩra ya ũgitĩri kuma harĩa tũraikara na kũrĩa matũra-inĩ na niĩ ndeka mathabu ma gĩthirikari nĩ mbeca itarĩ nyingĩ ũngĩringithania na budget ya trilioni 4.3 ũngĩoya bilioni 3 tũrĩhe village elders nĩ twateithia bũrũri witũ na njĩra nene mũno ũhoro wa ũgitĩri tondu mĩaka ĩyo yothe makoretwo makĩruta wĩra ũcio ũkoretwo matakũrĩhwo kĩndũ na hau hangĩ ndagweta nyanyihie ngombo na maũndũ maya o rĩngĩ ndĩracokera ngauga tũtirauga tũgĩcũthĩria mũndũ tũrauga ona ithuĩ tũrĩ atongoria tũgĩetha solution nĩ tũnyihanyihie ũhoro wa ngombo tondu ngombo nĩ ikũrehera bũrũri wa Kenya mũrigo mũnene mũno hau kabere na nikimaliza ndio niseme kwa Kiswahili wasikie so that we are able to communicate things very clearly. The public debt in Kenya, na nimekuwa nikisema hii mara mingi, is in a level of a crisis. and we can go out there and become defensive, but the reality is on the ground that out of the budget now ambayo itapitishwa mwezi wa sita, over 1.1 trillion Kenya shillings inaenda kulipa riba ama interest rates ya madeni, interest rates peke yake. Lakini tukiangalia pia ile madeni tunatarajia kukopa hii mwaka ambayo inakuja ya kiserikali ni karibu bilioni 900, 900 billion shillings ambao tunataka kukopa. We cannot continue digging the hole, but in our utterances we appear like we are doing proper debt management. Proper debt management is our realization that continuance of digging the hole is not helping the country. It is putting our country into an abyss of financial mismanagement. Na ukiangalia mwaka ambayo ni ya 2022 ikienda kuisha, ile mwaka ya uchaguzi, the debt in Kenya was around 8.7 trillion Kenya shillings. Currently it is around over 11 trillion Kenya shillings, meaning over a period of 2 years we have borrowed close to 2.5 trillion Kenya shillings. The entire reign of President Mwai Kibaki, miaka yake yote 10, alipata deni ya nchi ikiwa 600 billion, akiacha ikiwa around 1.7 to 1.8 trillion Kenya shillings, meaning the entire 10 years he borrowed just around 1.2 trillion Kenya shillings. Hiyo ndio pesa ambayo Kenya inakopa kwa saa hizi kila mwaka. Na hiyo miaka yake 10 ndio tuliona Thika Road Super Highway, tukaona barabara ya kutoka kama Isiolo kwenda Masape, kwenda Moyale na zingine mingi ambayo tuliona. Na kwa hivyo, if we are borrowing at the same level that President Kibaki borrowed for 10 years, then we must be seeing development that President Kibaki did in 10 years every single year in Kenya. Lakini ile kitu ya muhimu sana, mimi nauliza kwa heshima, na mimi nikisema hii sikemei mtu, ni mambo ambayo nimekuwa nikisema hata wakati nilikuwa katika cheo, ya kwamba debt management in Kenya lazima ikuwe priority, kwa sababu inaangamiza uchumi wa saa hizi na uchumi wa kesho wa nchi ya Kenya. And one of the best things to do ni kuacha kukopa sana. Tuangalie vile tunaweza tengeneza bajeti ambayo inaambatana na zile fedha nchi inachukua, so that we do not continue indebting our country into posterity. Jambo la pili, nikitaka niulize ministry ama department ile inahusika na administration, waliarrange budget yao, najua wanaileta bunge leo, lakini tungetaka wafanye rearrangement, because the security apparatus in Kenya inaanza katika vijiji, na Kenya tuko na village elders ambao wanaangalia maneno ya administration na security katika vijiji zetu. Tungetaka hao village elders from next financial year lazima wawekewe fedha zao, and I will make sure myself in my position as member of parliament that we have allocated the monies for village elders, because they should be given a stipend of not less than 8,000 every month. Ndio wasaidie machiefs wetu mambo ya kulinda usalama, na tunawapongeza sana, wamekuwa wakifanya hii kazi katika mambo ya kujitolea. It is time that we must rise up to the occasion as a country and reward our village elders, all the 45,000 of them, with a stipend of not less than 8,000. Na kwa hivyo ile pesa nimeona katika budget policy statement ambayo imeongezewa katika administration, hiyo pesa isiwekwa katika votes ambazo haziulizwa maswali mingi, ile pesa tu ya kutumiwa hivi na hivi. We want that money to be very direct and forthright, that we have to put aside pesa ya kulipa village elders, ndio pia wao waendelee kufanyia serikali kazi nzuri ambayo wamekuwa wakifanya. Na hayo mambo yote and I'm repeating again, hatuisemi hii mambo kwa sababu kuna mtu ambaye tunakemea. It is because it is the country can be able kufanya maneno ambayo tunasema saa hizi, na kwa hivyo tunataka ifanyike. Tumewaambia mambo ya hii stipend yao village elders for years. Next year I want to assure them I'll be on the front line. Lazima village elders Kenya pesa yao iwekwe katika bajeti, na we want the ministry ambayo inahusika, sio maneno ya 5,000. Tunataka wakuwa wanapewa 2,000 every week, 1,000 per month, ndio waweze kuangalia vijiji zetu vile zinafaa. Na hayo mengi na machache demuranithekio muno. Ni kama tumemaliza sasa. Hawa wa secondary wanakula chapati, lakini
one of the things that I really spoke to was exactly what the members are raising today, that we need to bring transparency to the scholarships that Kenya obtains from friendly countries. It's only right that we know what has been availed, and we also make available the processes. Even if we look at it from a context of maybe being able to bond the students to work for Kenya for some time as a way of paying back, we need to have proper records. And we need to show that every part of Kenya gets an equal opportunity when it comes to scholarships. And I was telling them that it would be very sad if we woke up one day and you found that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, as Minister for Foreign Affairs, has just dished out scholarships to his village in Mululu. It would be wrong to the entire nation. So this is something that I've been very passionate about, that we need to be more transparent. And as I said, we will be sharing this information. And transparency helps. So even as we go forward, these are issues that we can make clear with a template that can allow everybody to know who are the beneficiaries, even the names. This is something that should not be, it's not a military secret. This is something that should be within the public domain. I want to assure the committee that we do not want to make foreign affairs a dumping ground. We would like to put our best foot forward in these countries as we are represented by Kenyans in various stations. And I just want to assure you that in Italy, the ambassador in Italy and the ambassador responsible for the Vatican, who is based in Paris, these are career diplomats. So the whole issue of somebody giving an impression that they are politicians is false information. They're career diplomats. And I was there physically. And I can tell you a lot of what is being bandied around is just people satisfying their own imagination. There was nothing like that. In fact,
Hi, Your Excellency.
can move to your side, Prime Cabinet Secretary.
Good afternoon. My name is Ambassador Jacqueline Yonga. I'm the Deputy Director General, Parliamentary.
Members of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Nick Biketi. I'm Secretary.
My name is Mutota Richard, Assistant Director, Parliamentary and County Liaison.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is James Jones.
Prime Cabinet Secretary, I think this is our first meeting with you as a committee that we are in office. Our main concern is...
we should deal with issues when they are current.
Yeah. So
just a concern we have received from a number of our citizens
that are available in the Ministry Public and also
in Parliament. You had indicated that there were certain steps that were being taken to.
I don't know whether, of course it is hard to know.
Ambassador, I have listened and I will continue.
Very well as a country, and that is because we are renting most.
The best behavior, but you will agree with me that a vast majority of the people who live in
tulianza naye tukiwa vijana.
Kenya helps to provide a platform for various countries for people to talk. South Sudan, they have different factions. They have many peace efforts taking place in Nairobi. Mediation of different factions, different political groups. And Kenya has always offered that opportunity. In fact, you will recall that South Sudan began its journey here in Nairobi by different factions coming here and talking until they got their independence. When we look at the DRC, and you'll be familiar with the Luanda process, the Nairobi process, that terminology, which is now merged into one process. Heads of state of the East African Community and SADC came together in a summit and they said, let us have one forum so that we avoid forum shopping of people cherry picking which meeting to go to and which one not to go to. It delays the peace process. You will find that the Luanda process was designed led by the president of Angola to broker the peace process between DRC and Rwanda, to bring dialogue between the two states, interstate. Then President Uhuru is leading the Nairobi process, which was to bring inter-Congolese dialogue, including the M23. So all the various factions in DRC, they fall under the Nairobi process. And these are processes acknowledged and recognized by the African Union. So Kenya talking to these people was not in breach. In fact, they will have to talk, because we are seeing interventions which are good. Anything that calls for ceasefire, and we manage to achieve ceasefire, whether it is coming from the Middle East or whether it's coming from other quarters, is okay. But the long-term sustainability of the DRC will require deeper dialogue to go to the root causes. And this deeper dialogue will have to bring together a conversation of all these parties, M23 included. But we need to know that the biggest thing for us is to have a process where Kenyans become aware of the dangers. As we speak, Madam Chair, there are over 1,000 Kenyans incarcerated in different countries for different offenses. And here in Kenya, we also have non-Kenyans from different countries who are also incarcerated here for different offenses. Some from Europe, some from the continent, some from Asia. So it is an issue that we need to tackle, and this is the right committee to really find a way of bringing awareness to this particular issue, because we could be falling into the trap of people imagining that somebody gets a traffic offense, it becomes the responsibility of the government of Kenya. Somebody gets involved in a brawl in a nightclub in the United States, and they make it look like it's a Kenyan government problem, and vice versa. So we need to find a way of communicating this. And I say so because the demographics we have is that 70% of our people are young, 35 years and below. And these are the people who are likely to be traveling. These are the people who are likely to be looking for opportunities outside. And these are the people who are still vibrant and want to adventure at the same time. Kenya's position with respect to China is that we have adopted a one China policy. And that is the partnership that we've had with China ever since, and therefore we do not recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. We believe in a one China policy, and that's the principle that has been guiding us, not just now, but to the best of my knowledge, each successive government has maintained the one China policy. And it is in our strategic interest that we maintain the one China policy. We believe it's important to always have an official Kenya position on some of these very critical areas, so that we don't send mixed signals on very clear, on very strategic areas. And I know, for instance, there were some people who were pushing to have a delegation from Parliament to go to Taiwan when the President of Kenya is visiting China for a state visit. You see, looking at it, that would have been a provocative action, and it could have cost the country dearly. So there are certain things that we need to be alive to, because they can have serious and devastating implications on the broader welfare of the country. And the question of the labor migration issues, this continues to be thorny, to be honest. Even as late as today in the other forum I was in, some of these issues still come to fore. That there's, in some instances, we have unscrupulous agents who mislead Kenyans, who even take away money from Kenyans and leave them high and dry in very difficult circumstances. Both the Ministry of Labor and the Department of Diaspora have been aggressively campaigning on this and also helping people to know the institutions that are credible. We are also working closely with the other law enforcement agencies where sufficient evidence has been gathered on some of these unscrupulous fellows. There's no option but to have them prosecuted so that they can stop endangering the lives of Kenyans. And there are some areas that we need to continuously working together to caution Kenyans that there are some areas that are literally a no-go zone. Without naming countries, but there are regions where human trafficking is rampant. There are regions where people can land into a situation where they literally become slaves there. And in very extreme circumstances, some of them could lose their body parts. So it's a very serious issue. But I can tell you the campaign has got to be wholesome at parliamentary level, at executive level, so that the awareness is brought to bear to the citizens, because sometimes when you tell somebody that don't go there, they tell you that you are frustrating their opportunities. But in reality, maybe you're trying to save them, and it becomes a problem. I want to assure the committee that we do not want to make foreign affairs a dumping ground. We would like to put our best foot forward in these countries as we are represented by Kenyans in various stations. And I just want to assure you that in Italy, the ambassador in Italy and the ambassador responsible for the Vatican, who is based in Paris, these are career diplomats. So the whole issue of somebody giving an impression that they are politicians is false information. They're career diplomats. And I was there physically. And I can tell you a lot of what is being bandied around is just people satisfying their own imagination. There was nothing like that. In fact, Madam Chair, I think there was a member of Parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight. I think there was a member of Parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight. You don't need candles in broad daylight, and no candles were lit. No head of state had candles. And in fact, it would be a security threat if you are lighting fire where there are all those heads of state. So it is a figment of somebody's imagination for their own purpose. And all I can say is that the popes event. Farewell was an honorable, dignified process, very orderly. The Catholic Church programmers there had very clearly put order to how you come in. If it was a head of state, it was one head of state plus 4. That means they were not allowing anybody beyond that. And the people ushering in people were either at the level of cardinals or archbishops or bishops. So each delegation would be assigned one of those to usher you to where you sit. And so it was very orderly, and we want to respect the Catholic Church for a very presentable occasion. In fact, it would be unfortunate for Kenyans to try and belittle a process of this nature.
The initial announcement was that Kenya was going to be represented by the head of parliament, the Honorable Speaker, Wetangula. Was that information correct, or how did it happen that in the end our head of state was also present there?
The head of state was on a state visit to China. And one of the challenges was to process and finish the engagements of the state visit on time to be able to be in the Vatican. So the precaution was that in the event that the logistics would become a problem, then there was a plan B. Okay, but the president made it out of his engagements there, and I think we are covered in the sense that he represented the country at the funeral service.